Hello, welcome back to Perfect Beauty Crafts. I am Omotola. In this video, you'll learn how to crochet these beautiful sun hats. Where are you viewing me from? I'd like to know your name as well. Please drop that in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. These are the materials you'll need to start. Before we start crocheting, we need two important measurements: the hat crown diameter and the hat height. I have a tutorial on that. Please do well to check the description. Do you have your figures now? For me, my hat crown diameter is 6.6 inches while my hat height is 7 inches. What's yours? If you're ready, let's get going. Round 1. Make a magic ring. To do this, wrap your yarn around your pointer finger and bring out the loop made. Place your working yarn in between your middle finger and your ring finger. Insert your hook into the loop made and pull in the working yarn into the loop. Then yarn over and pull through. You've made a magic ring. Then make a chain 1. Next, we'll make our foundational stitches made up of 12 double crochet stitches into the loop. 1. Remember to place your stitch marker in the first DC. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Pull the tail of your work to close the ring. We'll join this round with a slip stitch into the first double crochet made. To do that, insert your hook into both loops of the DC stitch, yarn over, and pull through all the way. From now on, we'll be building on the foundational stitches and we'll also be increasing in every round until we get to our crown diameter. Round 2, chain 3. From now on, chain 3 counts as a double crochet stitch. In that same stitch where the chain 3 is, that is the first DC from the previous round, we'll make a front post double crochet. In the next stitch and in all the stitches following, work both DC and front post DC. As we continue with this round, every stitch from the previous round becomes 2. That is a stitch carrying 2 stitches. In this case, a stitch is carrying a double crochet stitch and a front post double crochet stitch. For the next stitch and all the stitches following, work both double crochet and front post double crochet in each stitch. At the end of the round, join with a slip stitch to the beginning chain 3. Just locate the third chain and insert your hook into the back loop and slip stitch. Round 3, chain 3. Work both double crochet and front post double crochet in the next stitch. Take note that for each round, our points of increases are those points where we have both double crochet and front post double crochet in the same stitch. Now we'll be repeating the sequence: DC in the next stitch and both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. Repeat that sequence all the way around. DC in the next stitch, both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. See you at the end of the round. At the end of the round, join with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Round 4, chain 3. Work 1 DC in the next stitch. Work both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. Now we'll be repeating this sequence. 1 DC in the next 2 stitches. And both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. Repeat the sequence all the way round. DC in the next 2 stitches and both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. At the end of the round, join with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Round 5, chain 3. Work 1 DC in the next 2 stitches. Work both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. Alright, so we'll be repeating this sequence. 1 DC in the next 3 stitches. And both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. We'll be repeating that sequence all the way around. 1 DC in the next 3 stitches and both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. See you at the end of the round. At the end of the round, join with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Round 6, chain 3. Work 1 DC in the next 3 stitches. And both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. Now repeat this sequence. Work 1 DC in the next 4 stitches. And both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. Repeat this sequence all the way around. 1 DC in the next 4 stitches and both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. At the end of the round, make a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. You may begin to track your crown diameter now. Mine isn't there yet. I need to work more rounds. Round 7, chain 3. Work 1 DC in the next 4 stitches. And both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. We'll be repeating this sequence now. Work 1 DC in the next 5 stitches. and both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. Repeat 1 DC in the next 5 stitches and both DC and front post DC in the next stitch. Repeat all the way round. At the end of the round, join with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Alright, let's measure our work again. Bring your measuring tape or your ruler to the center of your work. I have arrived at my crown diameter. Now I will stop increasing. Okay, so if you haven't gotten to yours, you need to continue with small round or rounds as the case may be. Just work 1 double crochet in every stitch, and when you get to the post stitch, you'll work both double crochet and front post double crochet until you get to your own measurement. We'll continue by making the body of the heart. So some patterns will tell you to make 1 double crochet in each stitch of every round till you get to your desired height. However, I realized that with time, as you wear the art, it doesn't fit anymore. Just sit back and relax, because I'm going to show you a better way of making a hat that fits even as you wear it. From now on, this is the pattern we are going to follow. We'll make 2 rounds of double crochet in each stitch without increases or decreases, and the next round following would be with decrease in some identified spots. So that is the pattern we are going to repeat until we get to our desired height. 2 rounds of DC in each stitch without increase or decrease, and the following round will be with decrease in some identified spots. Round 8, chain 3, work 1 DC in each stitch around. However, wherever you find a front post double crochet stitch, ensure you work a front post double crochet right there as well. Okay, but be careful not to add a double crochet stitch into the neck of the front post stitch, because if you do that, you will end up increasing that round, and you wouldn't want to increase. We are no more increasing once we get to our crown diameter. All right, I'll meet you at the end of the round. At the end of the round, join with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Round 9, repeat round 8, that is chain 3. Work 1 double crochet in each stitch around, bearing in mind to work front post double crochet where it ought to be. See you at the end of the round. At the end of the round, join with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. What do you notice, guys? My hat is forming shape. In the next round, we are going to make some decreases at some identified spots. Fold your work in half like so and go to the corners of your work. Ensure that the stitches right there at the corners are not your front post stitches. Okay, so just pick 2 stitches right there. We are going to be decreasing those 2 stitches pretty soon. We just want to mark those spots now. So you go to the other corner as well and pick 2 stitches right there as well. Next, trace the middle of your work and mark the 2 stitches there with a stitch marker. It doesn't need to be accurate, just ensure you are not marking a front post stitch. Alright, so you move to the opposite side of your work and mark the 2 stitches facing the ones you just marked with a stitch marker. Round 10. We are decreasing in this round. Chain 3. Work 1 DC in each stitch except in the marked stitches. So continue working 1 DC in each stitch and a front post DC where it's supposed to be, and I'll meet you at the points where I marked the stitches. Guys, I'm at one of the first points where I marked. You see those 2 stitches there? We are going to decrease them. We'll do a double crochet decrease there, and those 2 stitches would become 1. To do that, you would yarn over and insert your hook into the next stitch following, and yarn over and pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch following, yarn over and pull through. You have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all the 3 loops on your hook. See, we just made a double crochet decrease, 2 stitches becoming 1. Alright, continue making 1 DC in each stitch and ensure you make a front post DC where you ought to make a front post DC. I'll meet you at the other spots where I marked. Okay, you see those 2 stitches? We are decreasing them. So you'd work a double crochet decrease in those 2 stitches. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. We just made a double crochet decrease, so you're going to continue with your work, working double crochet in each stitch and a front post double crochet where it's supposed to be, and wherever you see any of the identified spots, you would make a decrease, a double crochet decrease there. Alright, and finish up with your work and slip stitch into the beginning chain 3. And here we go. I just finished with the last decrease in the round, so I'll just finish up by doing the remaining stitches left and join with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Before you proceed to the next round, please mark those 4 places where you decreased, because we are going to use them as a point of reference later on. Okay, so your total stitches should be less than 4 now. I had 84 before. 84 minus 4 is 80, so my total stitches is now 80. Round 11, chain 3. Work 1 DC in each stitch around, bearing in mind to place front post double crochet where it's supposed to be. I'll meet you at the end of the round. At the end of the round, slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Round 12. Repeat round 11, that is chain 3. Work 1 DC in each stitch around, bearing in mind to work front post double crochet where it's supposed to be. See you at the end of the round. At the end of the round, join with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Measure your work to check if you have reached the desired height. I haven't, so I'll continue with more rounds. Round 13, chain 3. We are decreasing in this round, so you work 1 DC in each of the stitches around. However, when you get to the spots where we are to decrease, you will make your decreases there. Do you remember in round 10, I marked 4 places where I made decrease? Yes, we'll be using those 4 identified places to trace where we are going to have our decrease in this particular round. Now we're at the first corner. You can see that stitch marker helped us to know where to do our decrease in this round. Okay, so I'm going to choose 2 stitches. Yes, those 2 stitches, I'll choose them. Yes, you can choose any of the stitches, but not a front post stitch, please. All right. So I'll make the decrease in the next 2 stitches now. Yeah, like so. By now you should know how to do that. Yeah, and that is done. So you continue working your DC where it's supposed to be, front post where it's supposed to be, all the way around. When you get to the next stitch marker, you would also make a decrease in that place too. Okay, we are here. I'm making a decrease in the next 2 stitches like so. Yeah. All right, so continue working your DC and your front post where it ought to be. When you get the remaining stitch markers, just pick 2 stitches in the segment and work a DC decrease, then just complete the remaining stitches in the round and join with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Let's take a quick look at the points of decrease in the previous round. Say 1 there. There is another 1, 2. There is another one, 3. And the very last one, 4. That's good. Round 14. Chain 3. Work 1 DC in each stitch around, bearing in mind to work front post double crochet stitch where it's supposed to be. See you at the end of the round. At the end of the round, join with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Let's measure our arc height again. I'm almost there, just few inches away. So we'll switch to single crochet stitches now. We want the opening of our beanie to be very firm, like a band. Round 15, chain 1. Work a single crochet in that same space. Work 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Work 1 single crochet in all the stitches around. In this round and in the rounds following, no more front post stitches. Work only single crochet in all the stitches from the previous round. I'll meet you at the end of the round. At the end of the round, slip stitch into the first single crochet in the round. For the next 2 rounds, that is round 16 and 17, repeat round 15. We are at the end of round 17. Before we slip stitch, let's measure our work. I've gotten to my measurements. Slip stitch into the first single crochet in the round. Slip stitch into the next stitch also. Now insert your hook into the next stitch from the back to the front. Put the loop into the hook and pull through and chain 1. Go ahead and cut the yarn and fasten off your work. Okay, so you can sew in the ends of your yarn with either a tiny hook or a yarn needle. All right. The next thing is to work the brim of the heart, and I'll use 4mm hook to do that. Round 1, make a slip knot. Bring your work and insert your hook into any of the stitches from the previous round. Insert the loop into the hook and pull through. Then chain 1, and that is just to attach the yarn to your work. So you're going to make chain 3. This chain 3 counts as the first double crochet in this round. Next, in that same stitch where the chain 3 is, work a front post double crochet like this. Good. So you can see that in one stitch we have chain 3 and a front post double crochet. In the next stitch, work both double crochet and front post double crochet. Okay, so this is the double crochet, and we'll also work a front post double crochet in that same stitch. So for the next stitch and each stitch around, work both double crochet and front post double crochet in each of the stitches around. So continue with that sequence, both double crochet and front post double crochet in each stitch around. I'm going to meet you at the end of the round. I'm at the end of the round and I'm left with just a stitch. So we are going to work both double crochet and front post double crochet in that stitch. Next, we are going to join the round with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. Just locate the third chain and insert your hook into the back loop and slip stitch. Round 2, chain 3. Chain 3 counts as the first double crochet stitch. In the next stitch, which is a front post double crochet, work a front post double crochet. In the next stitch and in all the stitches following, repeat this sequence. Work a double crochet in previous double crochet stitch and work a front post double crochet in previous front post double crochet stitch. So follow this sequence until you get to the end of the round. This means that double crochet and front post double crochet will follow each other repeatedly. See you at the end of the round. Join the round with a slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 3. For round 3 and the subsequent rounds, you are going to repeat round 2. Okay, so you can make as much rounds as you like. depending on how wide you want your brim to be. See you at the other side. Yippee! I just completed the fourth and final round for the brim. Like I said earlier on, if you want your brim to be longer than this, you can go ahead and do more rounds. Just repeat the round 2 until you get to your desired height. But I'm okay with this. The next step is to work slip stitches in all the stitches around. So what you do is that you're going to insert your hook through the back loop and through the back bump. So we are picking both the back loop of the stitch you're working on and the back bump of that same stitch. That is where we are going to work our slip stitches, okay? Let's get right into it. So insert your hook into the next stitch, that is through the back loop and the back bump of the next stitch, that is of the front post double crochet stitch, like so, and work a slip stitch. Yeah, so move to the next stitch, which is a double crochet stitch. Pick both the back loop and the back bump and work a slip stitch there as well. So in all the stitches around, you will be working slip stitches through the back loop and the back bump. You're going to do this to all the stitches around. Friends, I hope you've been enjoying the tutorial. I'd like to know in the comment section. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now and like my contents and please share with others. Take a look at the slip stitches. They look so lovely. Yeah. And please add a stitch marker to the first slip stitch that you made. Okay, so it will guide you in knowing where you started the round. See you at the end of the round. I've got one last stitch to go, so I'm going to work my slip stitch there as well, working through the back loop and the back bump. Yeah. Now we'll make the final slip stitch to join the round. So right in that stitch where you remove the stitch marker, which is the first stitch in the round, we are going to insert a hook from the back to the front, pull up the loop into the hook and pull through. Then you chain 1 and cut the yarn and fasten off your work. Who is excited as I am? The journey is almost over. So the next thing is for you to hide the tail of your work by using a yarn needle or a tiny hook. Wow, look at the brim of the heart. Look at the edges of the brim. The slip stitches really makes it look beautiful. What do you think? The last step is to embellish the heart. I would like to do something around the neck of the heart. So what I did is that I made long chains. I made chains as long as the neck of the heart. And as you can see, I am fixing the chains to pass through the last round before the rounds of the single crochet stitches. After this, I'll add other forms of embellishments like the roses, the petals, and the likes. See you when I'm done. Wow! If you were to make one, what color will it be? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Bye!